Welcome back, Stasa23 here, back again with some knife therapy, and today I have for you the new Shieldon knives Bulbasaur. This knife comes in at $70, and Bulbasaur, I think it wasn't that a Pokemon character, same color too. Not sure if that's where this came from, but let's talk about the knife. It definitely has some unique features, things that you don't normally see on you only see usually on a higher end knife, like the mirror polish on the blade. You got a full mirror polish on the blade, and the amazing action it comes with, along with pivot collars and milled out sections to make a pivot ring around there. Just stuff that you usually see on a higher end knife. So get some specs out of the way so you can know how big or how small this knife is. You have a total length of 8.58 inches, so it's in that medium to large size, more than the large size. You have a blade length of 3.66 inches, so a lot of cutting edge there. Your grip area from here all the way to the back is 4.25 inches. Handle scale thickness from here to here is 0.59 inches, so a little bit more than average. Close width in the pocket from the widest point from here to here is 1.45 inches, and a blade stock thickness of 0.117 inches. The behind the edge thickness is around 20 thousandths on my particular knife, sharpened at 18.5 degrees per side. We're going to start doing some cutting demo right here. All right, let's take a closer look at this. You have a nice broad leaf-shaped blade of 14C 28N that they are running from 58 to 60 HRC, and you have this nice high full flat grind, so all that stuff aids in its slicing ability, and it definitely showed. It went through materials very easily, very quickly, and it held the edge for a pretty considerable amount of time. The point is good for piercing and doing some detail work. And you also have sharpening choil cut into here, and it does clear the plunge line. I did sharpen it after I did the testing, and it's starting to get a smile back there. So just note, after the first sharpening, you may start to get in that plunge line a little bit. You do have a row of jimping up here and a thumb ramp because the blade goes up. So it's a nice placement for the thumb. The jimping is mild jimping. It's just rounded over on the tops right there because of the polishing. Let's close it up. As you can see, you have a very, very smooth action. I mean, very smooth. This blade drops shut without any problems, and it comes out with authority. That mirror polish that the ceramic ball bearing pivot is running on really glides over that blade, and it's a very silky, satisfying deployment. The closing is, like I said, drop shut, barely have to shake it free, and the flipper is done nicely. It also has some jimping there, and it's also kind of smooth jimping because it is rounded over, but it's not a problem because you have enough flipper tab there just to do a light switch, or if you want to put your finger on top of it and do a push button, you can do that as well. But I will say the light switch is a lot more comfortable. Their detent is definitely dialed in nicely. It is a ceramic detent ball that also helps aid in the smoothness. I was kind of worried about this jimping on the liners. That's usually a huge pet peeve of mine, but one thing I did notice is that when I flipped it, my finger landed back here, and I did not touch that jimping whatsoever, so it was a null point. Very comfortable to flip, and it's a very fidgety knife. Let's close it up and take a look at the scales. You have some nice, smooth, contoured, layered green and black G10 scales that are done very nicely. The finishing works very, very nice quality. Soften the edges. There's no sharp spots where you don't want them to be. And they also milled this out enough to keep you a pivot ring into the G10, as you can see right here. So this was a lot thicker of G10 that they milled out a lot of to give you an added, ring around the actual pivot ring, because you do have a pivot collar that has like a color anodization on there. I don't know if it's titanium. I don't think so, because it's that different shades like that. I'm not certain on that. but you have a T8 pivot, T6 on the body screws, and the pocket clip. I would have much rather see the T8 here so it could have all T8 hardware, but yeah, I'm okay with it. You have stainless steel liners that have a pretty high polish, not mirror polish, but it's, I would right there close to it. It's like a hazy polish on the liners. Flow through construction, skeletonized liners, 2 standoffs in the back right here for stability in the back. Your access to that lock bar is very nice. They got a nice little cutout right there. Jumping on that flipper, that lock bar, very easy to get there. I love when it's a nice, comfortable way to get to that lock bar. Your lockup is sitting at around 50%. No play up or down, no play side to side. It's a pretty solid lockup. The ergos on this knife I noticed were very good. That ramp right there really locks you in. You have an added finger guard with the flipper tab. So this was this hammer grip was nice, and the saber grip was very nice as well. The only thing that I did notice whenever I was bearing down, putting a lot of force into my cutting, that the top of this pocket clip gave me a hot spot right around here. And I think it's just mainly due to the placement of the pocket clip, because they had to bring it all the way to the end like that because of that pointless, in my opinion, lanyard tube. I would have much rather see a lanyard post right there and not have a hole right there, so you could maybe bring this into the center so you wouldn't have to worry about that. But I will say I didn't notice it at all until I really bear down, and that's not something I'd usually be doing with this type of knife. But if you're somebody who's doing a lot of cutting where you're putting a lot of pressure into your cutting, you might have to watch out for the top of that pocket clip. But other than that, it was very comfortable. It was a joy to use in all the cutting I did. The pocket clip is tip up, right hand carry only. It went in and out of the pocket nicely. In my jeans, went in and out nicely. And it hugs the left side of the pocket, the right side of the pocket, due to where the clip is. You got something to hold on to. It's not deep carry, and that's something I would have rather see, especially if it was moved over into the middle. I don't always like to see this ramp that goes up and then back that away, because thicker material just hits that. But I didn't notice any problems in any of my jeans. Now, if you wear really thick clothes, that could become a problem. You have good spring to it, so it's not the hardest to get over the hump of your jeans or whatever you're putting them into. All right, let's get a weight on the knife. Coming in at 4.45 ounces, not bad at all, especially for the size of the knife. They were able to lighten it up with the internal milling in there. If y'all can see that, there is some internal milling on top and bottom, especially for such a broad piece of steel right here. They did a good job of bringing the weight down. 2 quick size comparisons. You have the Ontario Rat Model 1. It's fairly similar. It's about the same exact length as the Ontario Rat 1. I'll just put the Rat 2 up there for reference. So it's a big knife, like I said before. Definitely a good size comparison there. A few of my nitpicks and complaints. I'm not a huge fan of a full-on mirror polish blade, especially for a user knife. I would have much rather see a mirror stonewash blade. That way it would hide wear a lot better. I don't know if I'll better show you, but I got a good bit of scratches on it, and you can already see all the fingerprints. It's a definite fingerprint magnet, and like you can see all the scratching there just from the cutting I did so far, which is not a big deal. It's not hurting the functionality of the knife, but just as far as aesthetics go, I would have, if they would have threw this in a stone washer after the fact, I think it would have been beautiful. Or just a regular stone wash blade. May have saved cost, because this, this is extra steps to get it at a full mirror polish like that. Also, I'm fine with the Shieldon knives right here and the blade steel. Those are both things I'm okay with seeing there. But I definitely think you could have left off the name of the knife and the designer. You could put that on the box. And the model number, you could also put that on the box. That's just, a nitpick there. Also, I quickly touched on it. That, like I said, the knife was super comfortable in pretty much everything I did, but I had to note that whenever I was pushing into the wood really hard, I did notice that the top of this clip right there was a hot spot in my hands. And like I said, I just think it's because of where the clip is placed. If this was put in the middle, then it would have sat in the middle there. It would have been just fine, I would think. But overall, I love the knife. I think it's super smooth, well done, well made, good action. The steel held up just fine. Of course, I would have liked to see them run this at a 60 to 62 HRC. I find 14C excels way more in that HRC range, but at the limits they are right now, it's just fine. So the overall value for other 14C 28N knives, it's kind of rough here. You know, I know they're a new company, so it's kind of hard, or they're new into our market, so it's kind of hard to get your prices down right off the bat. But, you know, you get the Civivi riffle with 14C 28N for $55.25, and I love the riffle. You know, can it compete with the riffle? I think it's close. It's definitely in that ballpark. You also have the Civivi Brazen in 14C at $50. You have the QSP Hawk for $55, and the Real Steel G5 Metamorph at $60. So I would have much rather see this at the $60 price range. I think it could definitely, it would definitely pique more people's interest. Would I buy it? Yes, I like it. I think it's a good knife. I like it's different. It looks different. And the action alone is absolutely outstanding. They did an excellent job on that mirror polish, even though that's not my thing. And they made a nice, comfortable knife that held up just fine in all the cutting I did. I don't know if y'all saw, whenever I was doing that rope cutting, that 1/2-inch twisted scissor style rope, this front portion right here, I guess it's a little thinner right there, and it was push cutting. I did 50 cuts into that twisted scissor style rope, and I was doing mainly push cutting. It was blazing through there, and it did not affect that edge much at all. So definitely have a good heat treat on here. So it's going to be up to you whether this speaks to you. If it does and you're okay with the price, I definitely would say go for it, because it's a great knife. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I know they're already making certain changes to certain knives, and they're doing it quick. They're listening to y'all complaints, and they're trying to take care of them because they want to bring you a good knife. So if there's anything that you would like to see different on this knife, like I would like to see a deep carry pod clip, I'd love to see it in the middle. Put that lanyard hole into a lanyard post back here, so you could put that into the middle. Throw this in the stone washer, or just stone wash it beforehand. Those things would make this knife just top notch in my opinion. So there you go. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. I hope everybody's having an absolute wonderful day. Stay tuned. I got several more Shieldon knives on the way. Some of them I absolutely love, and I can't wait to show them to y'all. So I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.